It's important to understand that in NEET PG, they ask you straight facts. They don't try to think about your. Actually, main problem is there are hardly any people who are able to finish the number of revisions they want.
Okay.
So you need to mark 90-95% questions. You can only leave 5 to 10 questions, I believe. So I had to run about and shout and everything. So I got a new CPU and a new computer. That wasted a solid 13 minutes of my time. Giving a GT is only half the thing.
Analyzing.
A grant, yeah, a grant test takes 3 hours to do, and it takes 12 hours to analyze.
Hello, all. This is Dr. Dheeraj Masapu. I'm a consultant neuroanesthesiologist, and so today we have Dr. Anirudh Gupta with us, who has got a very good rank in his NEET PG exam, and he has done his MD General Medicine from UCMS. And later on, he also secured a very good rank, and he's doing DM in gastroenterology in SMS Jaipur. Welcome to the channel, Dr. Anirudh.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this video is about the strategy for the upcoming NEET PG exam in 2024. So about 3 months are there for the exam. So we want you to give very practical tips and strategy for the students who are preparing for NEET PG exam. So how would if I give you a time machine and keep you back, in 2023, how would you prepare at this point of time with all the knowledge that you have now? How would you design your strategy for NEET 2024 PG if you are going to give? And only 3 months are there now.
Yes, it's a very short time.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to tell that NEET PG is actually the most difficult exam that you would give till now. Means even NEET SS or NEET UG are comparatively very easy, because the amount of syllabus that we have in NEET PG, all 19 subjects, it can get a bit overwhelming. So, means making a strategy is very, very important. Otherwise, most of the students get lost where to start and where to end. So, the revision strategy for NEET PG, if we had a whole year, that is slightly different. Then you can give a month to a big subjects, 15 days to smaller subjects. But now, like, we only have around 100 days, around 3 months left for the exam. I think one should divide the strategy into two parts. First, one slow revision and one rapid revision. So if we have around 100 days, or we can say 90 days. So first revision for 60 days and the second revision for 30 days. And then we'll have to allocate the number of days to each subject compared to the size of the subject, and more importantly, in which subject you are weak in. So the subjects you are weak in, if it's a larger subject, like if it's medicine or it's surgery, we can give it a 1 week. But if it's a smaller subject, like if it's anesthesia or if it's radiology, we'll only have to give it 2 to 3 days maximum. So for that, one needs to give a lot of grand tests from now.
So which grand test portal did you use during your time?
Yeah, so during my time, Marrow was just launched. I was one of the first few subscribers to Marrow, and I really liked it at that time. The whole question bank, I did the whole question bank twice. Those 28,000 questions, I started in January. I finished it once by July. Then I did it second time from August to October. And then all the questions that we had bookmarked for the last 3 months, like we are focusing now. So I had bookmarked around 5,500 questions at that time out of 28,000. So those 5,500 questions, I tried to do them twice. I did them once. Means like if I have only 100 days left. So if I have allocated 7 days for medicine, I'll first be doing those 500 questions that I have bookmarked in the first 2-3 days. Then I'll be reading my notes, what I have made in the whole year for the next 3-4 days. And after bookmark, I'll still be marking a few questions as starred, which are even more important, which I'm still making a mistake. Even after doing the same question for the third time, if I'm still marking it wrong, there's a high probability I'll be marking it wrong again in the exam. So I'll need to bookmark it again. So for the last 1 week, then I'll be having 500 questions of all subjects, which I should revise before going to the exam. Those 500 questions I'll do 2 to 3 days before the exam. So this is important because you can't just think about one subject. I have studied 3 months back. I'll go to NEET PG and I'll just do it. I have to revise all subjects in the last 1 week also. So whatever we are reading now, if we are still not sure that we'll remember it, we should write it down or we should bookmark it so that we are able to revise all those important things in the last 1 week. Last minute revision is very important.
How do you bookmark, like any software, computer, paper? What way did
Yeah,
you?
uh, in this Marrow app, we have this option of starring. We can star mark a question, and otherwise, if we have an important fact, because the question takes time to do, if we have an important fact, it's better to write in one line. We should have one register, which is last minute revision points, as I used to call them, LMRP. So we should have a small register or a spiral copy, just with just only 100 pages, which can be revised on the last day. So those important facts, if we concise them and we write, so that will be very helpful. Because if you try to learn today, after 100 days, you will definitely make a mistake again. So that is important. One needs to revise everything twice or thrice. Reading once in great detail is of no help. One need PG.
So these 3 months, should they cover new topics or should they only focus on stuff that they have already read? Or what is the best way to go?
No new topics now, because 80-85% questions will be simple. If you are able to cover those first, then those 10-15% won't make that much of a difference. If you go for those 10%, you'll make a mistake here. So at this time, one should focus on those 90% questions that are easily achievable and not make any mistake in them. And those new questions, one should give a grand test at least once a week. Before going to the exam, one at least 10 to 15 grand tests should be given, at least.
In this 3 months' time, 10 to 15 grand
Yeah.
tests need to be given.
Yeah, at least one per week. So around 12 weeks if you have. So 12 to 15 grand tests one needs to give. And in those grand tests, whichever you new questions you get, even if they are difficult, one can go through them. So those will help you cover those 10% questions that you are not covered. Those topics which you have not covered, you can do back reading. Those questions which you don't know, you should open the book. You should open your notes and just read those paragraphs, 1 or 2 paragraphs, which are pertaining to that question. There's no point of going in depth at this time.
Got it, got it. Since you are expert in medicine, so for medicine, what books do you recommend for referring your?
For medicine, Dr. Deepak Marwa's book and app are actually very good. They are pretty concise, and because other teachers like Thamim or even Dams, they are quite lengthy, and you don't need to spend much time in medicine because most of the medicine questions are covered in pharmacology, microbiology, pathology, all those three things. So if you are thorough in your pathology or your microbiology, I think core medicine questions are hardly 10. Our total medicine questions are 30, 35, but core medicine questions are only 10. And if you are reading medicine for those 10 questions, it's not worth it. Well, medicine is very vast. Harrison is too vast. Means you'll waste the whole month just to revise the basic things. So medicine is you should not leave it completely, but you should not give it utmost importance. You should focus on other subjects and just read notes from any particular teacher. I personally used Deepak Marwa sir's book, which was quite nice and very concise. One could go through the whole book within a week.
Okay, okay,
It was quite, yeah, only 150, 200 pages.
got it. So just curious to know what are the topics, when you were preparing, you felt like very tough or very tough to understand, or you wasted a lot of time. And can you name some,
Yeah,
if you remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So means actually when we start preparing an internship, the biggest difficulty is anatomy because we have read it 5 years ago, so we hardly remember anything. Anatomy, especially the head and neck part, that is quite important. And for anatomy, Dr. Bhatia's notes are very good. Dr. Ashwini, Dr. Bhatia's notes are very good. His animations, his photographs, whatever he teaches in his notes, they're actually very good. And anatomy, you should read Like if you are starting these 90 days and if you have not read it very well, you should first read these subjects which you don't remember. So like subjects which I found very difficult were anatomy, microbiology, because microbiology is also very volatile. You tend to forget all those classifications and everything, and also biochemistry, because these subjects you have read long back. Medicine, surgery you have read in final year, so you still get have a basic idea. So one should start with anatomy, biochemistry, PSM, and microbiology first. Then covering those simpler topics which you remember, like gynae people usually do very well. You can follow either Sakshi Arora ma'am or Deepti Well ma'am. Both have very good notes. And gynae is one subject that one should aim at scoring 100%. Most of the people who do good in NEET PG usually have 28, 29 out of 30 in gynae, because it's very high scoring and they don't ask you very odd questions. Most of them are from the notes. Like you can't score that well in medicine, even if you read, because they'll just put super specialty questions in NEET PG, which one can't crack. Same with surgery. But one should aim for very good score in PSM and gynae. Both have very, the number of questions both have is around 30, which is quite a lot, equal to medicine, but scoring is much easier.
I understood. The strategy is to focus more on the peripheral subjects than medicine.
Medicine is not important.
Okay. So, what about the orthopedics and the other small subjects, dermatology, anesthesia? Where did you prepare those subjects from?
Yeah. So it's important to fix one source for each, follow one teacher's notes for each. In these subjects, there's hardly any difference. Almost all teachers are teaching the same thing. Like for ortho, I used Dr. Apoor Mehra's app, Ortho Dhum Dhamaka. It was very nice. They only teach in 2 days and complete everything. For dermatology, I used Dr. Bhatia's Manish Soni sir's notes, but for ortho, even DAMS was equally good. DAMS or even Bhatia, both are equally good. So hardly matters. Same with radiology. Radiology DAMS is very good. Sumit Shetty sir is very good. And for anesthesia, I use Marrow only. So there's not much difference in these subjects, but important is to keep it concise so that you can revise it within one day. So one should read it now and make a concise notes, or at least mark those important questions, because these are very volatile. If I read these dermatology, if I've seen those images, I'll forget them after 2 months.
Okay.
It's there's a book by Dr. Saurabh Jindal from DAMS,
Okay.
which is a nice book, only 100 pages for dermatology, and means I followed it to the T. It's very nice.
Got it. So the question is, everyone would be preparing the sources from where you told, but how do some people excel in the exam? So for that, any strategy?
Yeah. So means there are over 1 lakh people who have subscribed to Marrow. So you have to compete with those people. So I do agree. Yeah, it's all in the revision strategy, because most of the people, they go into great depth. They'll do all the question banks. They know the subject very well, but they know it today. They'll forget it after 2 months.
Okay.
So the important thing is that even in the last 90 days, one should try and revise those subjects at least twice. So we means we have to break down the days into blocks. Like we have 90 days, so we will in 60 days, 30 days, and then last 1 week. If we are dividing into 3 blocks, one is slow revision, one is fast revision, and one is only last minute revision points, which only has those very important 500, 600 questions and the things which you have written. Those important points which you have written, which you have read now. Things you are not remembering now, things you are making mistakes now, should be revised in the last week. What you have read in the first 9 months, that is just building the base. This last 3 month sprint is the most important. And this is where there's a difference. If you are not getting a desired rank at this time, it does not matter much. There are many people who are doing good now, and in the final exam, they are not getting good ranks. These last 3 months, one who revises the most can really excel.
So this is the crucial time, according to you.
It's very crucial. The last 3 months are the most crucial.
Okay,
Even
okay.
if one is reading 8 to 10 hours for the first 9 months, this is the time to increase it to 12 to 14 hours.
Got it, got it. How many hours should people read ideally, according to you?
Yeah, so it depends on the work. Like we had a heavy internship in Delhi. We used to work 9 to 5 at least every day. So we used to give around 6 to 8 hours usually, 6 hours for the first 6 months. And after that, like in the last 3 months, we tried to increase it to 8 hours. And then before the exam, last 15 days, we had a leave. So that time we were able to increase it to 14 to 16 hours. So if one does not have work, obviously one should increase 2 to 3 hours. But we used to try and do question banks in during our work. During our ward duties, we are doing marrow question banks on our phone. We are
Okay.
trying to revise a few notes on our phone. So it used to means it was not very solid study time, because in 1 hour we are only able to take out half an hour or 15 minutes. But we try to do that so that we are at least having 11 to 12 hours of study time every day.
For a person who
That
is
is,
dropping a year and preparing without doing any
yeah,
work,
yeah, yeah. So
then
one should at least give 12 hours of solid study time,
solid study
at
time.
least for next 3 months.
Okay, okay. 12 hours. Remember, guys, 12 hours you have to study minimum. If you
Yeah.
and it should be solid study time. So that is the
Yeah.
important thing.
There are no distractions, no YouTube, no phone. Yeah, that's important.
Got it, got it,
Uh,
got it.
this is very important time.
So then, any other tips and tricks while solving the paper or anything you want to tell?
The next most important thing is time management,
Hmm.
which you come to know by giving grand tests. It is very important not to overthink during a paper. People tend to overthink, and then they tend to mark questions wrongly. It's important to understand that in NEET PG, they ask you straight facts. They don't try to think about your analytical knowledge. It's mainly a rote-based exam. They'll ask you simple one-liners. You should not overthink that they are asking me something very difficult. So whatever answer you get in your first instinct, most probably you should go for that. So I'd like to advise that if according to the number of questions, like if we have 200 questions, we used to have 200 questions at a time. So we need to increase the speed. So we need to divide it into blocks and at least keep last 20 minutes for any unforeseen circumstance or revision. Because many times there is means a problem from the part of the center. Like during my NEET PG exam, my computer froze before the exam started.
Okay.
So for the first 10 minutes, I did not have a computer.
Oh,
So I had to run about and shout and everything. So I got a new CPU and a new computer. That wasted a solid 13 minutes of my time,
okay,
and
okay.
uh, and that timer could not be reversed. So and that creates a panic because I had not started the exam. Others had already done 20 questions by that time. So one needs to increase the speed so that for such unforeseen circumstances, at least your year is not jeopardized. So you should practice keeping at least 20 minutes of spare time at the end. All the grand tests should be completed in 30 minutes before time, 20 to 30 minutes.
30 minutes before time. Okay, okay, okay.
At least in the house, if it's completed 20 to 30 minutes before time, then in the exam, it would be easier. So one should increase the speed and not overthink. If there are a few questions of overthinking, just mark them for review at the end.
Okay.
But there will be 2, 3, 4 questions which you need to think. Otherwise, majority 95% questions you either know or you don't know. So you just mark them and you move on. And secondly, the negative marking of 1/4. So one should not leave too many questions because the cutoff is pretty high these days. If you only attempt 80% questions, you are already having a very low chance of getting selected. So you need to mark 90-95% questions. You can only leave 5 to 10 questions, I believe.
So some risk you
So
have to take only, even if you don't know.
you are out of the race before entering the race. So one should try to mark as many questions as you have an idea of. Only leave which you have.
If you know only 70 and 30, you don't know. Better to go ahead and
Yeah,
mark
better to go.
and take the risk.
Yeah, it's important. Otherwise, you will not get anything. One fourth gives a good opportunity. Like AIMS used to have one third, so there one can still think. But for NEET, one fourth, I'll
It's
say mark
worth
almost
taking the
all.
risk.
I had only two questions during my time. So I would say it's the same strategy for NEET SS. So here also we marked almost all. There also we marked almost all.
Okay,
It's a similar kind.
got it, got it. So then anything else you would like to, what are the pain points in your preparation in the last 3-4 months period when you were giving?
Yeah, main is the amount of time you are able to give. So means if one is able to take leave or whatever work they are doing for the last 2 3 months, it's actually very beneficial. With the last 2 months, if you are able to give 12 to 14 hours, it really helps. Juggling it with work is difficult because it gives you additional stress, additional pressure. It's all there. And secondly, this revision means I was also not so focused. Like first revision took more time. Like I'm saying, it should take 60 days, but if it takes 70 days, then it makes difficult. Then the next revision is very haphazard. So one should increase speed right from today, not increase speed in the last month. If you are increasing your speed from now, so then you will be able to cover all the subjects twice very well. So means keep a time bound, make a timetable in your phone from today only that I have to finish medicine in 5 days. I have to finish it in 5 days. You can only take half day more, but you can't take more time. And secondly, if you are weak in some subject or some topic, there's an option of custom modules in almost all apps now, even in Prep Ladder or Marrow, both. So one should make a custom module of those topics which you are weak in. Like if I'm weak in endocrinology, I should make a custom module of 100 questions in endocrinology, and I can do them in 3 hours. So that will give me confidence, and that will cover most of the important questions from the subject. So rather than doing all, why can't tell you to do 28,000 questions in the next 60 days?
Yeah,
But you can at least do from those topics which you are weak in, where you are scoring lesser marks in your GT. Analyzing a GT is very important. Giving a GT is only half the thing. A
analyzing.
grant, yeah, a grant test takes 3 hours to do, and it takes 12 hours to analyze. So that's important. One should give at least 12 hours to analyze a GT, analyze every question, and analyze every mistake.
Got it, got
So
it,
that
got it. So you had your own notes, right, that time in the end to revise?
Yeah, so I made my own notes in the last 3 months only
Okay.
because starting I'm reading notes provided by all the teachers,
Yeah,
what they are saying. But those notes are not concise. So if what you are reading now and you think that I still don't remember it after reading for last 9 months, this is the time you should write it in a separate book,
okay,
a separate notebook. That should be concise. It should not be very vast. It should only be one single notebook, and it should have all 19 subjects.
okay.
So, so it should only have 10, 20 pages of each subject. So only very important things which you are forgetting again and again. Making lengthy notes is of no use because all these platforms are now providing printed notes. So if you want, you have such a big book of medicine notes, you have a big book of every subject notes they are providing, but you can't revise all of them in the last week. So within those notes also you need to identify what you don't remember and what is important for the exam. Not everything is important for the exam. Only things which are being asked in the grant tests, which have been asked previously, those are things which you don't have to mark wrong. If a new thing is asked in the exam, it hardly matters because majority of the people don't know in the country. You have to think what 99% don't know. For the top 1%, that is a different ball game.
Got it, got it, got it. So most of the questions will come from the grant tests and all the questions which are
Yeah,
there.
and previous year questions.
Okay, okay, okay,
Previous,
okay, okay. It's all about memorizing then. That is the agenda for the 3 months. That is what.
it's rote learning at the end of the day. It is not an analytical exam.
Okay.
It is not.
Like USMLE and those exams are more analytical, clinical scenarios and all that. So this is more like you have to put in your memory, you have to squeeze the brain with all these things and then.
And be smart in memorizing. You just can't do rote learning.
Okay.
You have to be smart in what to memorize and what not to. What is more important? What is being asked more frequently in the exam? What topic is most important? Just not revising all those marrow notes. They are huge bundle. Means they are big books, 19 books. So you can't remember all of them. You can only analyze and mark those things which are being frequently asked in the Q banks. Yeah.
Got it. So then now I understood actually the whole essence is about revision, making your own notes and having 2 or 3 revisions. And the end,
Yes.
maybe your book you will read for maybe last 1 week.
Last one. Yeah. That's most important.
So if you follow this, then at least some decent rank will come.
Yeah. If you are able to revise your syllabus 2 times, then definitely you'll get a 3 digit rank. It's actually
Decent rank
very much,
will be there.
very,
Okay.
very much
Then
possible.
my doubt is then if everybody does the same strategy, then how does some become stopper and some don't become? So
Actually, main problem is there are hardly any people who are able to finish the number of revisions they want.
okay.
I've hardly met people because they are usually engrossed in going deep into every subject.
Okay.
Because knowledge is unlimited. You can read any book. Every subject has its own book. If you are reading all those books, if you are reading Nina Khanna in dermatology, you can spend 1 month in dermatology.
Okay.
But you don't have time. You don't have time to read that. So it's important to keep it concise and not to leave any subject. Some people are afraid of a few subjects, they leave. They think we'll do 18 subjects and we'll pass.
Okay.
That is not the right strategy because 50% of questions from every subject will be easy. So if you are completely leaving anatomy, and out of those 20 questions, 10 questions, you are leaving those 10 easy questions.
Okay.
So if you find anatomy difficult, you should still go for previous year questions and the important topics so that you at least score 50% in that subject.
Okay.
If you're not able to score 80% in some subject, at least score 50-60%. Only 2-3 questions you will be able to cover up in any other subject. But if you are leaving a subject fully, you'll not be able to cover it up.
Got it.
That
Got
would
it.
be
Got
difficult.
it. So we discussed everything, but implementing is very tough. That is what you're telling.
Implementing is tough. It's implementing tough. On paper, it looks easy, but it's not so easy.
On paper, you
NEET PG
explained
is
in a very easy way, actually.
very difficult. NEET PG is a very difficult exam. It requires a very good strategy to
So
excel.
this must be the world's toughest exam, no? This NEET PG.
Yes, it is the toughest. Means I've given NEET SS. I got 170 rank in NEET SS. It was much easier. It was much easier. You only have to focus on one subject. There you have to focus on 19 subjects.
Yeah.
So it is actually very difficult. And even in USMLE or PLAB, there you have to focus mainly on the final year subjects,
Yeah.
more on the clinical side.
Correct.
Here, preclinical and non-clinical is more important than clinical.
Got it. And they divided exams, like first part, second part, and so many parts are
Yeah.
there. So this
So one
is
has time.
one has a time to actually divide and memorize stuff. This is like one exam, you have to memorize everything, and you have to compete
And
with a huge number of people who are preparing the same questions. So that is the
yes,
toughest thing.
it's important not to do mistakes in the easier things. With those 90% questions that everyone knows, someone is doing 80% of them right, someone is doing 95% of them right. That is the difference.
Okay, got
Those
it.
last 10% hardly matter. Means that is only for the top 100 ranks maximum.
Got it.
But the majority is on those 90%.
To get a seat, whatever has come now, you should not do a mistake in that. That is the bottom line.
Yes.
So going deep into the subject, you'll solve the top 10%, but not the,
Not majority. Yeah,
but that is icing on the cake. I understood. Got it. So thank you, Dr. Anirudh. So I think, this video will help many students in my channel. They were requested, for this 3-month strategy they wanted. You told in a very simple and crisp way. So hope they will love this video. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.